Welcome to AltJake Takes On. And here's AltJake.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 4 of AltJake Takes On. Sorry we're a little bit late with this episode coming out. If anyone in the spaces or even hears me now, I got really sick last week, so I lost my voice and was not able to record, but we are back and better than ever and ready to go. I am here with my buddy George, as always. How you doing today, George?
Doing great. Thank you, Jake. Glad you're feeling better.
Yeah, we're getting there, my friend. We're going to power through.
Sounds good.
Good. So I know we've been listening or looking at some viewer comments, which we're going to get to putting some of those in today's episode, but I think you had some that you wanted to talk about.
Yes, I searched the comments and saw that people wanted to hear me speak a little more, so
yeah,
you're going to hear me speak now.
Let's go, my friend. Love it.
At the ripe old age of 59, I've seen some wrestling and I've seen some things go down. Wednesday night took the cake for me because I'd never seen anything so unnecessary and pretty much done on purpose because it was planned as I did Wednesday. What could have been a disaster in a medical way was just terrible to me. And it was placed at where it was placed by Mr. Tony Khan on purpose because it was not the main event. It was placed between the two. It was placed between the two NCAA games, between the space that was provided there, and it was done on purpose to try to garner viewers. And unless I'm wrong, which I don't think I am, the ratings have increased the last 5 weeks. So they're going up. And my fear is that Tony's going to think this is working and what people want to see. And dude, I'm in fear of that. And why I'm in fear of that is because accidentally, I heard Dave and Brian talking about this match.
Oh no.
And Dave literally sounded like he was pleasuring himself when he was doing it. And it freaked me out. And
now wait, we'll show this picture, which I believe will be allowed by YouTube for this. It's the only picture I could find that I felt was YouTube friendly, we'll say. It's interesting about Dave with that because isn't he always the one where he'll say, well, it's not the kind of match that I like, but the fans liked it, or
you know me. I don't normally bring up Dave on our show.
Me either. We
tough, dude.
It's one of those things where he literally invites it on himself. We try our best. There's plenty of people who rag on Dave all the time, and they do it better than we can, and it's their bread and butter. And honestly, but Dave, he deserves it when he's talking about things because, I mean, it was recently enough as the Hell in the Cell match with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre that Dave, he did put the match over, but he in star ratings or whatever, but he purposely said, not the kind of match that I like, or they used I remember he bitched about the toolbox. That was what I remember. Like, it was too much there and blah, blah, blah. And that match was built into a storyline that had gone on since the Royal Rumble, and that happened at Bad Blood in October. So that had 8 months of build. This has had, maybe 8 weeks of build with, air quotes.
Yeah. I don't know, but I kind of want to know what your take is on some of the things that I mentioned in the beginning there.
Well,
why there? Why the placement? Why the spot?
Yeah. The placement is the part that gets me. Oh. And the placement, this is exactly what they did with Grand Scam, where they tried to put it after the All-Star game to bring in those viewers. And sure, the first quarter looks great because if you watch for 1 minute of the 15 minutes of the quarter, they count you for the whole thing. So yeah, they drew over 1 million viewers. Great. What was quarter 2? What was quarter 3? Yeah, there's always a tank. And I feel like the NBA, or even with this one's the NCAA, but anytime there's that crossover, it ends up just getting made fun of. It happened with Jericho a couple years ago in the All-Star game where people were making fun. Was he still around? That's what Jericho looks like now. But putting this type of match in between, I understand the picture, back to this shot, that if you have people that have been wrestling fans at any point, they know at least two edges. Maybe not Moxley, Ambrose, whatever. That might not have been their time. But, Edge has been around for long enough that people know who he is. So I could see that draw of people maybe clicking over, or is it one of those things? Was it on the channel after the game or something that you were able to, I'll tune in. But when it starts, how quickly did those matches devolve with him going to the outside and having 18 run-ins? And I know was it an Omaha street fight or a Nebraska street fight? I forget which,
Omaha.
but Omaha, yeah, Manning, Omaha. Yeah. Which I don't know if there's ever been a street fight in Omaha person. Like, I'm not sure how often that happens there in Husker country, but to have it devolve into this, is that really going to draw people in and then keep them watching? And if it is, who are the people that are interested in this? And what are you going to do next to top it? Light somebody on fire? Oh, wait. Fall through a 20-foot ladder into glass? Nope, they've already done that. Yeah, there's not, I don't know. For me, this is, not only is this not a draw, it's like a negative draw. It makes me not want to watch the show. I didn't watch that. I purposely didn't watch the match because I knew how bad it was going to be. I saw highlights later, obviously, but if you go Moxley right now,
increased. That's the part that kills
me,
Jake.
The viewers increased because of the timing and where it was. And I don't feel like the viewers that were actually wanting to watch it increase. Like, was it increased because it was on in bars and those count for more viewers? Or was it something where people had it on and were waiting for the next game? I don't know. It's just, there's no actual draw in this, I don't think.
I agree with you 100%, but you get where I'm coming from.
Oh, 100%.
Tony Khan, dude.
And you have, and if Dave Meltzer's glogging over this match and Moxley's in his ear, they're all telling him how great it is. He's got nobody. The whole problem with Tony Khan from day one, and I'm not even talking day one of AEW, I'm talking day one really of his life, is that he's never been told no. He's just been a spoiled rich kid that's been allowed to do what he wants and allowed to indulge in the things that he loves. And, people aren't going to tell him no because he'll just pay. He pays the people that tells him yes and that tells him the good things. And if the viewership's gone up too, that's another thing that's horrifying because he's been very proud on, I don't know if it was one of the media calls before a pay-per-view or the media scrum after, but probably both, where he puts over, oh yeah, no, everything you're seeing right now, that's been more me. I've been writing it all. And it's, you're proud of that.
And now this does not help.
Oh God.
Now he's going to see, since I've been deep in the weeds, since I've been saying no to people, look at the ratings. They have gone up. That's the part that really
gone up in the sense from like,
yeah, I know.
606 to 617. I know. When a year ago you were in the 800s and you're in the sixes now, yeah, you take any win that you can. And I feel like it's another thing where there's certain phrases that he gets stuck in his head. I've been talking about it. He keeps saying, "Oh, I'm in there, day in, day out, day in, day out." That needs to be the next Cornette bell. He so it was like before. What was it? Was it last year or the year before where he was like, put your money where your mouth is, put your money where your mouth is, he just gets so fixated on things. And, I don't want to talk about people's mental health and their abilities there, but it's pretty clear what's going on with him. I feel like, at least on some level, maybe not specific.
Jake, do you think they've done this in response to a WWE thing, or what do you think?
I feel like everything that's a good call. That really is. Because I feel like almost everything they do is responding to WWE in some level because they still feel like they're a challenger brand and competition, but they're closer to TNA and GCW than WWE. But how many views not only did I know the Cena turn on Cody did like the most views ever. But also to the Cena, the 20. They posted the whole 23-minute thing on YouTube. A million views within hours. I feel like, or so. What's the numbers and what's the comparison? Because I know right now, if you Google Moxley, the first thing that comes up is spikes in back, nails. And I forget what the other one was I saw, but it was spikes in back and nails were the first two that you could see. So, technically, yes, there is traction, and there are people seeing this, but it's not in a good way. The people that are seeing Cena and Cody and Rock, like, those are eyes that are intrigued by it and reposting it and want to see it. I mean, look at the comments that you see of anytime when AEW posts stuff about this match or about what's these storylines. No, even the AEW loyalists, like the sickest of the sickos, they don't want to see this shit. They don't have it. Like, this is terrible for everybody. You could, this isn't like heat. This is just boo, go away heat. Nobody cares. And Moxley, like you said it earlier too, this could have been a serious medical injury. Like, this could have, if those spikes hit certain spots on that, and I'm sure they quote unquote gimmicked them somehow. I mean,
no, it don't matter. It don't
exactly.
Matter. I don't want to
It
hear
doesn't
that shit at all.
exactly.
Dude.
It doesn't make a difference. If depending on where the spike hits, it doesn't have to be that sharp, that long, that deep. No, Diddy, and it'll be able to hit your certain vertebrae and paralyze you. Like, he could have easily, lost the ability to walk or not be able to use his left arm or something. For what? How many? I mean, even though you say the viewers went up, what was the number for it? They couldn't have gotten over 800,000 viewers for this spot, could they?
I don't think so. I have to go back and look.
I don't pay much attention because it's all a joke of where they are, but I know it's not good. We know that.
Were they gimmick spikes?
From what I heard, what they did was that a lot of them were dulled down, and then other ones, and then there was ones that, like, I don't know if they put like a stickum or something on there to really make sure it's stuck in there, but some were extra sticky, and a lot were dulled out. And actually, you could even see there's a couple bent ones in the picture there. I can, like, up at the top left. But again, it doesn't matter. Like, that's kind of like when they were trying to say, like, they gimmicked the chair or like they gimmicked the glass. Like, okay, so you made it like 8% safer, so now it's 18% safe. Like, that's not a good thing.
Yeah,
and one of these days, somebody's going to get really hurt.
Is going to see it.
Yeah.
Say, well, we shaved them down to spikes, and they're fucking walking. I'm sorry, Jake.
They're good.
They're walking around in the hospital, in a wheelchair now, and now they can't function because they saw Moxley do something stupid on TV.
Yeah. All of a sudden now they're unable to, like, breathe properly for the rest of their life, or they, had to have their spleen removed. No, it's just one of those things. And we know, I mean, we've all seen for decades now that people reenact you can try to have them not to, but from Mick Foley to the Hardys to the Buckaroos, everybody's, they're going to mimic what they see. I mean, CM Punk was even in backyard wrestling, for crying out loud. That's usually where the start comes for a lot of these kids. And it's only going to get worse. And someone eventually, and I'm still shocked, that it hasn't happened, but for the grace of God, and thank God it hasn't happened, that somebody hasn't been seriously injured. I mean, we've seen bad injuries from Ray Phoenix and his arm, and what was it? Oh God, I forget the kid who broke his leg for, like, is it one of the high flying kids? Dante something maybe.
Oh yeah, the guy from
Top Flight. Yeah, exactly. And it was like right after his brother had came back from a serious injury. I'm still not sure if Anna Jay's ever been right from that power bomb that she took basically directly on her head. She's been on TV a few times, but not much. But they're all still at least functional and able to have, eat and be normal humans. But eventually somebody's going to get seriously hurt, and I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. And that's not good for wrestling. I don't care how great Tony is and how he's been able to, and it is great that he's providing a life for all these folks and being able to, have a place for people to go and work in the wrestling business. But it's also super it's not safe. It's not healthy. It's not. And I mean, this is also the guy who said it was the safest company in wrestling. God, I get a pain behind my eyes when I think about it.
The question
it's just
comes
like,
up,
why?
Who's it helping?
I mean, it's helping.
And you can't answer the question because there is no answer. Who's it?
There really isn't.
Shit like this that we're looking at right now. Who's that helping?
Nobody. And who's it for? Like, nobody. How many people really like this spot? Even the people that are trying to defend Tony online. You feel like a lot of those people are, like, doing it because they have to. which is cult behavior, but that's another conversation altogether. It's
the live crowd reaction when I was watching this, because some people were actually laughing. Dude in the front looked like he was ready to start crying. People
yes,
know what the
I've seen that guy.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like he was like, I paid for this. This is what I paid for my front row ticket. Because he's got the perfect view of the back, too. I'm just like, I don't want to see this. This is not. And Moxley still won the fucking match. Like, I can't. Oh, my God.
They're going to run this. Even though they get him and Swerve were supposed to go at Dynasty, but I don't think they're going to put the belt on Swerve.
I don't either. I still think this is all in the long play for Darby. And I don't understand. And that's just. And I also think, that it's going to be Darby somehow, like, and the group that's supporting him will be the babyface, Bucks, and Jungle Boy. And I don't understand. Like, it won't make any sense, but it's what they're going to do. I mean, right? Like, I'm not saying it makes sense, but it's Tony, and it's what he's going to do because they're going to tell him it'll be great. People will love it. It's going to be awesome. And there will be a pop when they play Baltimore for Jungle Boy, and he gets Tarzan Boy played once. There'll be a pop for that once. Maybe people will do the arm thing and enjoy that, but then the bell has to ring, and nobody wants to see that garbage. Nobody.
Jake, this segment is giving me a massive headache. I need some.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right. So a topic that should get us, back on track and give us some smiles and put us back on a good note here is we've got our first round of viewer comments. So these are some older ones from like our first couple rounds of videos, and we'll try to post as much of these as possible and interact with folks. I'm trying to respond to as many of them as I can because we really do want to be interactive with the audience. If you guys like something, dislike something, think that there's something that we're doing well that we can improve on, please. If there's questions you want us to, topics you want us to talk about, throw them in the comments. We're more than happy to interact with all of you. So the first one here is we got from Maximilian228, which is good shit, Jake. Keep it up. This is from the Elimination Chamber. He was actually at the show and was still digesting everything that went down. I thought that was awesome that in our first, one of our first real big shows and topics that we had people talking about that were actually at the show and interacting. That's something, too, where if you're ever at a show and want to give us a little report or talk about it, hit me up through YouTube, Twitter, whatever. I went to a show this year myself and had so much fun. So I know how awesome those topics are to talk about. So, and then the other one that I thought would be a good one for us to bring up a little bit here was from Jamie Earhart, one of our old friends from the Pro Wrestle Times, Pro Wrestle Clips chat. We love Jamie for sure. It says Gunther and Jay should open up one of the days the way the audience loved Jay, open up with a bang and set the stage. My response to that, which I've said from the moment Jay won the Royal Rumble, that match should just lead off WrestleMania altogether.
I thought so.
Yeah, right? Like, right, if that doesn't get you set off in the right mood, like whatever happens in the match, fine. But that moment of every +2, let's be real. Not all wrestling fans have the best cardio in the, they're not the most cardiovascular folks. So getting that yeet out while everyone's still got the energy is be a good move for sure. So we thank you both for your comments. Please continue to add them. We're very happy to have good comments, interaction with our fans. Some other ones that we got here was from Daniel Krager 1102 and my old buddy, the Exact Change Man. Both of them kind of in the same level of that there's too much content, since time is limited, you got to pick and choose and usually, watch Raw, SmackDown and listen. I thought this was good where he said, listen to the Cornette and Last review of Dynamite and Collision. I'm usually in the same boat. I will say I watch NXT as well. And I've been trying to watch TNA more, but normally I'll watch like a recording of that so I can kind of skip certain things and make sure I miss through the commercials just because there is only so much time in the day. And then the Exact Change Man, Brian here brought up a good point that with the Netflix price increase and enough people doing watch-alongs of Raw, maybe just if you enjoy that better, just cancel those and consume the product the way you want to, which is a topic that I liked because this is why I don't get too wrapped up in ratings discussions, because everyone's worried about, oh, this many people saw, this many people watch, like, you know, or when people compare it to the Attitude Era of 10 million people watching on TV, like, yeah, that's because how everybody consumed the product then. So many people now watch it through YouTube clips. And I mean, usually the Raw highlights are almost an hour or over an hour long from Raw. Same with SmackDown, or you can go through Twitter and catch most of the show live if you watch. That's usually how I consume AEW pay-per-views. Instead of trying to pay the $50, I'll just watch the highlights through Twitter. So it's one of those things that, for me personally, I will always still watch Raw, NXT, and SmackDown. And I do like, as we talked about before, the more documentary and historical type shows like Rivals and Biographies and Greatest Moments. But, you know, LFG is just something that I have not had the time for and not really wanted to make the time for, unfortunately.
Yeah. When you meant the previous comment about the too much content available, I think if you go back to our YouTube show, you will see an episode dedicated to that.
Yes.
Clip. Yeah.
These are comments from that. These are kind of comments.
Okay.
Yeah. These were comments from that of just, no, you're good. We put out a lot of different stuff. This is one of those from that initial bonus take there of just people kind of agreeing with that of but that's also back to a point that I made on that video of, it's not, I mean, there are some people that are completionists and they do want to watch everything, but I don't feel like WWE is putting everything out for everybody. They're trying to put stuff out that's going to appeal to every different type of person. You know, that's kind of like why they're doing the roast of WrestleMania, but they also have the Slammies, or they also have what is it, the Undertaker's dead one dead man show.
Yeah.
And a lot of different things to give people options of what to do. And I feel like so many people, and this is more of an online thing where people complain like, oh, that's just too much. How can anybody go and do all of that? There's nobody that really does go to all of that. And the people that are complaining on Twitter, yeah, and the people that are usually complaining from home, they're not going to any of it. They're living in mom's basement and not able to afford any of it. They're not going to even the shows in their local area. So, and then the last round is some comments that we have here. Back to Daniel Krager giving us some good information too. According to Mike Johnson from PWI, Hendry's contract runs until late 2025, which I feel like was close to what we were saying. I thought it was early 2026, but that does make sense. And that's something I wanted to really put over and thank Daniel for, is helping us out. We have said before, we are not people that are we are not the news. We are not scoopsters. We're not trying to break any news. We're both older guys that do go online and pay attention to things, but we don't know everything. So if there's something that we get wrong, or that was a question that I asked, I think if anybody knows that, so please, by all means, continue to give us that information. We love that. Our buddy Anthony here, Anthony8906. This was in reference to talking again about the shows and all the different options that they have out there. But this is back to the all women show. Was I think if you do an all women show, you're going to divide the fan bases up, and there's going to be people that tune in to watch Raw and they're looking for their favorite women and they're not there. And that's something that I totally understand and get as well. And that is something that I thought if they're going to do a women's show, it would almost have to be like a break from, and it'd have to be like the NXT type or like the women developmental show. And I think now with Evolve, like the idea of a women's show is not really going to happen. It's not something that's going to.
Have you heard anything further on Evolution, July 5th?
I haven't. No, I have not. I've heard people talking about that, but I didn't know. When is Money in the Bank?
Oh, I don't know.
I just said that's usually the one in July. So but I mean, they've clearly shown that they can draw houses anywhere and everywhere. So I feel
it's a good problem to have, Jake. It's
right?
Really
yeah, it really is. Yeah, and I mean, these European houses have shown that there is a thirst and a hunger for it. And then, excuse me. And then the last viewer comment that we have there is again from Daniel, and we thank you so much for interacting with us. This was from the first show, but I purposely left this one last because I thought it was kind of a good question to bring us into. What was the moment that really made you a wrestling fan? Like, what was there a specific moment or a specific time? I don't know. Do you want to go first, George? If you have something, I've got something kind of built up here and ready. If you want me to go first, I didn't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
Perfect. So for me, it's a very simple. There's like a very clear moment for me of what it is, and it's the Undertaker's debut. And I can remember it clearly because that would have been 90 or 91. So I'm 8-9 years old, and I lived in a cul-de-sac in my mom's area, and the kid at the end of the cul-de-sac, his parents, actually, it's funny, it was his mom who was the big wrestling fan. Like, his dad watched, but his mom was really into it, and she would order the pay-per-views, and all the kids in the neighborhood would come over to there. And, I can remember that Survivor Series of people like really getting into it. We were cheering and having fun, and everybody just shut up when The Undertaker came out. And I mean, this is probably like 10, 12 kids between, 7 and 10 years old that are just like,
weren't ready for that.
No. And then that's like the Roddy Piper. Like, that's why I love when they show the replays of it, of Roddy just yelling, "Look at the size of that ham hock." Cause I can remember sitting on the floor, like looking at the TV in the corner, the old tube box TV, and just us being immediately enthralled. And then cut to not even a year later. Cause the Undertaker just enthralled me, and I was intrigued by him, but I wasn't really a fan, but I was just always intrigued by it. But when he quote unquote beat Hogan Flair put in the chair and all that. And, he hurt Hogan's neck, brother, even though his head was 4 inches off the ground, but whatever. Or what was it that, "Oh, you squeezed my neck too tight, brother. I was hurt." I was the only kid that cheered that at that party. I don't know if that was a pay-per-view or if that was a Saturday night main event, whatever that was. We were back at the same kid's house, because I can remember being in a different area in his house and watching that. So it's through those two reasons is why, to this day, as a 42-year-old man, I'm still on. If you make me give a Mount Rushmore or list my top wrestlers, it's like Undertaker and then the rest. Because I was also at WrestleMania 26 with Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, so I saw that live. So just done. Like, I will always be a fan of him and that time. So that's my answer. Is those moments of him in the early 90s taking over really hooked me, and to this day I'm still hooked.
Nice.
Yeah.
I will go back a little further.
Right, I figured that.
1981, my parents got cable TV. And I
Nice.
was able to I was out of wrestling pretty much, just other things. I'm 17, I think, at the time, or 15. Yeah. So they got cable, and I was able to watch Georgia Championship Wrestling. I was introduced to Georgia Championship Wrestling, Ric Flair, the Four Horsemen. Right from that point on, I'm in.
Yeah.
So cable TV was the turning point for me.
I could see that. Yeah, no, because it was, for me, that was already kind of in existence by the time I was getting, because I could see how that moment would really kind of be that big turn, when you're always having it available and knowing when it was going to be, and not being and the thing about regional and territory wrestling, like, while it was great, most of the time you had people kind of going in and out and circling through. But when you had, especially with the Horsemen being that staple, like, they were always going to be on TV. They had the belts. They won the title. Like, they were, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's also too, like, what's funny for me, it's funny you say that about, like, being 15, 16 and being out of it, but then being brought back in. So yeah, really into it in the early 90s, even to like 92, 93. But then I start to get a little older and get into middle school and high school and kind of drift away, and then cut back to The Undertaker. I didn't watch it live because it was on pay-per-view and I wasn't watching, but King of the Ring 96, where I'm 15 and he throws, he throws Mankind off the thing, or off the cage, and you hear about it, and then like you can see like a grainy GIF online where they post there, and I tuned into Raw that night because I heard about it at school the next day.
Yeah, it's
it's or one of those things. Yeah, or you hear about it with friends, and you remember being like, oh, this is something that you really want to be locked into. And that brought me kind of back into starting to watch. And then you have the Monday Night Wars and all of that going into it. But, even then, it's kind of like Godfather 3, just when I thought I was out, Undertaker drags me back in by throwing Mick Foley off the cage, which it's leading up to 3 days from now with Dark Side of the Ring. That's going to be the premiere episode for Dark Side of the Ring season 6, and real excited to watch that. Which, if that's something that people want us to review or talk about, again, put it in the comments. We are more than happy to have discussions, like to discuss and talk. We can review types of shows and see what we like.
I have a challenge for the commenters.
Please
comment as to why I should start watching NXT, because I don't watch it right now.
There you go. I like that. That actually could be a good topic too. I could try to bring in some notes and different things of why I think you should watch it, because I really thoroughly enjoy it. So that's a good idea. Good topic. That's a smart one. We always need topics and things to discuss for the show. We're not trying to talk about the exact same things everybody else talks about or do the same stuff that everybody does. We want to be different. We want to be interactive. So please, make sure to subscribe. Hit the like button, share the channel, tell your friends, join us on Sunday nights for Spaces. Stay tuned for my Twitter account usually they'll be at 8:05 p.m. Eastern, depending on different times and different things in people's lives. We might have to change things up at different times, but we'll let everybody know. But yeah, we want to thank everybody for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, please leave a comment. George, is there anything else that you wanted to bring up before we head out for the day?
That'll do it.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. We love you all. Peace. Have a good one.